We did a long drive, like 20-hour drive here on the U-Haul. Towed the car in the back, did the whole thing. And I just didn't realize that I was gonna be that far. And it's like living on an island. The months that follow, I probably went like a good 4 to 5. I went until like April until I closed another deal. I called it like the $4 weekend because I think I had $4 in my bank account the whole weekend. Right. And but it was one of the greatest weekends of my life. I wrote about it because we didn't do nothing. Like, I think we just took the kids to the park, ate in the house, like ate food from home, maybe, whatever. Didn't spend any money. I remember I didn't spend any money, but
Streets of Baltimore to building a real estate empire. This is a story of how somebody decided not to let his past influence his future. I got my guy Neil on the All In podcast.
I know it says name, but we introduce yourself a little bit more, bro.
my name is Mattei Jr. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm a real estate investor, real estate wholesaler. Been doing this for about 7-8 years now.
Solid. And y'all know on the All In podcast, we go over people's story, how they overcome odds and, be great. So, Neil, you say you from Baltimore, bro?
Yes, sir.
How was growing up in Baltimore and like how did that shape, how you view the world? Like,
Yeah, 100%, bro. I mean, I could say like there's a ton of lessons that I learned kind of growing up. I like to say like, like what makes up a person is like half of you are like just genes, your genetics, and then the other half is just like your environment where you grew up. So, growing up, I would say one of the biggest like lessons or takeaways that I learned was more so just how to read people, how to understand, read environments, read situations, understand, people's energy, intentions. Like I think those are kind of the subconscious things that you kind of pick up. It's more like survival tactics. Like you learn that naturally to kind of survive and fit in. So, the other thing I think is probably, growing up in the city, I learned what I didn't want from what I saw, right? Like I looked around and I kind of saw what I didn't want out of my life, right? It was a lot of examples of things that I don't want. So I kind of catered my future and my vision to like, it's like a process of elimination. It's like, okay, I know I don't want that future, I don't want that outcome. So I got to do something completely different.
what was like prevalent, eliminations you have to make? Like, I do not want this, and I do not like what some of the top ones like.
Bro, I mean, coming up, like when I came up, it was more so just, I mean, Baltimore is a low income environment, bro. It's a pretty small city. Like everybody know everybody. Um, and I mean, it's just a lot of murders, like truthfully, right? So, the common thread is just, most of the kids, most of your friends that you grow up with, their dads are, dead or in jail. So it's pretty, I was fortunate, I grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents are from the Caribbean, so they kind of came over. They came over to the United States as teenagers. And so I was a lot more lucky and fortunate than, a lot of my contemporaries, my friends, because shoot, I went home to a 2-parent household. I had a pretty stable home, in that sense. But it's like a stable home, but like outside, it's, murders and sirens and like, you gotta just getting to and from home every day is kind of like a constant struggle. So, yeah.
Makes sense, bro. That makes sense. So like when obviously right now you're in real estate doing your thing. So like what made you not want to be an employee or not want to like get in the streets? Like what made you be like, okay, real estate is it versus, okay, let me go do what my friends doing or do what, the society does in general.
Yeah. So that's a great question. For me, it was a matter of, I mean, I always kind of knew as a kid that I wanted to be in business. I knew that I wanted to, kind of run my own show. It's like, some people just kind of had that feeling where like you just feel like your whole life you were just meant to do something larger. And I would say I'm definitely one of those people that felt like that, like from a very early age. So, growing up, I kind of knew that it was going to be something. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know what kind of business it would be. But as I got older, and just kind of started doing more research, like real estate was the one industry where it felt like I could excel by just being myself. Like I could bring the traits that come naturally to me to the table, and those traits will speak for me and kind of carry me into success.
Got it.
So, I would say that's kind of what led me into real estate. It seemed like it was within reach. It was, it was the one industry where I didn't need a college degree. I didn't need, like a whole lot of credit and qualifications and all that. I just needed like grit and, tenacity. I needed the ability to learn and fail forward, ask questions, that kind of stuff. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing in real estate is like tenacity, like you were saying, and like perseverance and like persistency. So do you feel like growing up in Baltimore, like you were saying, some of the skills you already had, you feel like you could compound on in real estate and you didn't necessarily have to be different? So would you say like perseverance, tenacity, like growing up in Baltimore also transition to real estate, or?
that's actually a good question. And I probably would say no, because what I learned, I don't think when I first got into this business, I don't think I had the work ethic to match, right? Like I don't think I knew what it really took to be successful in real estate when I first got in. So, it took some time for me to kind of, understand that, right? So I think yeah. I think
So it didn't teach you more hard work, but
nah, I don't think so. But what I did learn a lot was like, emotional, like empathy. I learned how to have empathy for people going through tough situations.
yeah.
And I think that translates to, what I do in real estate right now today.
Got it.
Right. When kind of dealing with probate sellers or, people that are going through real serious situations, I'm able to, like understand on a deeper level, because it's like, hey, I know people that done went through that. Well, I've seen that. That's, it's kind of a lot closer to home. So, I think if anything, like growing up in Baltimore kind of gave me certain skills where I can talk to people on the street, and I can also kind of dress it up and sound real good in a boardroom too. It's like, however,
No,
like I
that
can
makes
kind
sense.
of like a chameleon.
For sure. So would you say like empathy is like one of your superpowers? Like on the phones with sellers, like in real estate, like, okay, being able to connect. Because I feel like, you know, when you're able to actually connect is different versus like trying to have like fake empathy or sympathy. Like, do you think like as a like closing a deal, the seller can feel like your empathy over the phone?
100%. I think that's like, what contributes to like my success over the phone. It's more so when people, decide to work with me, they're working with me because they felt a sense of trust through the other line, right? They may not, have met me. A lot of my deals, I would say 95% of them are over the phone. So we're not doing a lot of like in person, closing, but
Yeah.
um, you can definitely feel that. You can feel the empathy. You can feel the understanding. You can feel that I'm a real person that's trying to actually understand your situation and actually help you.
Absolutely. Do you feel like that's where some people like you might be watching this podcast trying to lock up a deal right now? On an empathy standpoint, like what tips could you give them, like just over the phone, just right quick before we get too deep, because we're gonna have a whole like in-depth acquisition part. But just to get them like a teaser, what would you give them like a how to come across like trusting? I know your thing like probates. How do you make them feel like trusted, or like you're a trusted expert that can actually do what you're telling them to do? You're gonna do it, right?
Question. I mean, we got a couple different frameworks that we use when we making these calls, but a lot of it revolves around active listening. I think that's number one, most important. You have to be you gotta be present when you're on the phone with somebody, right? You gotta be there with them. You gotta ask the questions that are gonna reveal the information, right? And sometimes, you deal with different people. Some people are guarded. Some people have no idea how to navigate an estate after their loved one dies. So, you know, it's very important that when you're talking to those people that don't understand, that you kind of slow down. And I think the patience that you have with them, right? The time that you take to just kind of explain and, hold their hand through the process. That is what builds the trust and credibility. A lot of times that's what I hear. It's like, I like working with Neil because he took the time to listen. He took the time to actually, hear my situation out. And I felt like he was the one that could actually solve it.
For sure. That makes sense. Y'all better have y'all notepad out. Neil, one of the best closers I know. Point blank period. Y'all better have y'all notepad out right now.
And truthfully, that doesn't come from like that comes from failure. Like that comes from like the hundreds of opportunities that I bombed. Like, like just freezing up on the phone, right? Like, like I just remember in the beginning, but in the back of my mind, it's like always knowing, yo, I got the skills, like I can do it. I really could do it, but you got to get your reps in. It's like anything else. I kind of look at like closing and talking to sellers and doing these real estate deals, like how athletes look at their doing their reps, right? Like it's the same thing. Like, we just don't have a league for it, but for real, like we striving for greatness every single day, bro. We trying to get better than what we was yesterday. We trying to create a life and a legacy for our family, right? Like for our next generation, right?
So how did you get past like that mental barrier of like actually getting your reps in, one, and then two, when you messing up, what made you not like be like, oh, this ain't me, like this ain't for me?
That's a good question. I think because number one, I knew the money was in this industry, right? So, and then I'm one of those people. I kind of believe like it's nothing really different between me and like the best man in whatever field. Like the only difference is, a set of skills and training that, maybe I haven't had yet. But in the grand scheme of things, like I believe that, I could achieve the highest level of greatness at whatever it is that I put my mind to do. So, I kind of always had that confidence in the back of my mind was like, bro, I'm gonna figure like I'm willing to give this a million reps. I will try this every single year until I see the success that I want. Like that was my mindset because it was like, I watched Gary Vee a lot back then when I was getting into real estate, and he would always say like, he would say micro patience, no, yeah, micro patience, macro speed, or something like that. And it's basically the mindset that like you want to be patience in the macro, like you want to have patience in the macro, where okay, if I just keep doing this, if I keep swinging at this ball a million times, if I try every single day, I'm going to eventually hit a home run. Right. But speed in the micro, whereas like, every single day I have to be doing all the things that it takes for me to hit that home run. So I think when I like to say like when I first got into real estate, like I had all the right ingredients. I knew what it took, but I didn't necessarily have the recipe. I didn't know how to cook, how to put it together, how to bake the cake. Like, so, I think that was what the reps taught me. It was, that's what the all those calls, all those failed opportunities, deals that, I might have lost because I said the wrong thing or, whatever. So those failures taught me.
That makes sense. That's actually a great kind of like analogy that you got from Gary Vee because, I see a lot of people in real estate. I teach a lot of people in real estate, and I always tell them, like, really don't expect to get your first deal to like 6 months. Like, if you're coming in here with any other assumption, you're probably wrong. But the issue is they just come in here and say, like, they hear what I say that, but don't put in work every day. Like, oh, it's just a matter of time, but like not putting in work every day. So I think you have to put in work every day and then understand that it's still going to take time. And then one of the people I listen to, like Myron Golden, he says like professionals prepare way more than they compete. And then amateurs compete way more than they prepare because it's all about preparation. Like proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. I don't think people really understand that. So other than, again, we give y'all a lot of acquisition gems right now. We're going to have a way more section on it in the podcast. But in terms of, like an acquisition, for example, other than being on the phone, how did you prepare to be on the phone? Like, you know, getting on the phone is hard, and like, how did you like before you get on the phone? What did you do to get your mind right to get in that mode to make sure you're ready to get on the phone and compete?
I mean that just thinking about that, like in the very beginning of my experience, like I probably was one of those guys that, like I kind of avoided the tough calls. I get the butterflies in my stomach when, before you press the green button, and um, I don't know. I think that you just the fact is like everything that you want is on the other side of the fear, whatever it is that you avoid in it. So it's um, like, like I just know that was if I didn't make the call, that was the one guaranteed way that I knew I wasn't gonna get a deal. Like, so it's like, okay, you just got to do it. You got to overcome it. And then again, if it's something that you actually want to get good at, you'll give it the effort and continuously, kind of get up after you fall. You keep getting back up, and then it's like riding a bike. And then once you figure it out, well, once you know it, it becomes routine. It becomes like, it's ingrained. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. It's like, it.
That makes sense. So from Baltimore, growing up, in B-more, tell me about like, what did you have a job growing up, or like, did you have jobs? Just tell me about that again.
Bro, worked all through high school. I worked all through high school. I worked at Chick-fil-A, all through high school. I got that job in like 10th grade. I would work maybe 3-4 days after school. Um, and my job was like right up the street, so I could walk there. And yeah, man, I just worked. I didn't want to like ask my parents for a lot. They had a lot on their plate, just bills, and taking care of me was like hard enough. Like honestly, I not that I didn't I don't think I asked for much or like needed anything. After like once I started working, it was like, I didn't ask my parents for really anything. I just kind of funded my own life in that sense. Like when it came to things that I wanted, I'm not talking like I still had a roof over my head that was paid for and all that. But yeah, man, I worked a lot. I worked corporate jobs, like even after I dropped out of like school. Um, I worked at, Bank of America. I worked at a roofing company. That's kind of where I got into sales. At that job, I did a lot of cold calling, and that was where that's actually where I got my first bit of like phone experience. So funny enough, before I even got into real estate, I was working at like that call center, and that's how like I wasn't as afraid when I got into real estate because I had some experience cold calling.
Yeah.
But it was more so the fear came from just the unknown. The fear came from like not knowing what to say next, not knowing how much to offer, not knowing how I'm gonna sell this deal after I get it. Just all the unknowns. Like I think that's where the fear came from, not necessarily like the fear of like making the call.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of people start to have like all of it figured out before they, get into it. But like you've had that cold calling experience, man. You still would like kind of thinking about that. 'Cause like one thing I like to say is like when you get in your real estate, all you gotta do is just keep your mind focused on like just doing, and like not think about like the after, like what happened after.
Find a lead. That's true.
You need to find a lead, but I know you were saying you was working in like corporate and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you was working. What was the spot that you was spoke on there?
So that was like a window and roofing company back home in Maryland, and I worked there for probably like 3 years, and it was just like a regular like sales, just setting appointments, and I would get like commissions based off of like the appointments I set, stuff like that. But got tired of that environment, and then found another opportunity at Bank of America. I worked there for a little minute, and like during COVID, that was kind of when they sent everybody home. So we was working in a office building, and then they sent everybody home to work from home. And I'm like, okay. And I had like my first son was on the way. So in the back of my mind, I had already done at least like by then I think like 2 or 3 deals maybe, something like that. I wasn't full time or consistent at all, but I had done a couple of deals, but I knew in the back of my mind that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Like once I did my first deal and got that check, I'm like, yo, like it's over. Like life is we want that life now. Like we good because we got a skill. We got something that's gonna keep us paid. Like, and we're gonna be able to keep doing this. This is not a one and done one and done type of thing. So, um, that gave me the proof of concept to tell me like, okay, we this is something that's worth further investment. So yeah.
So you had a son on the way. They sent you home. What made you just like go all in into it? Like, what made you say, okay, this is not for me? Like doing this, like real estate. I know I closed a deal, but this is like what I need to be doing.
Bro, it was the performance evaluations, bro. Like jobs always you always gotta come in and sit down with your manager and go over whatever you did. And I just remember every single time I'm like, bro, I don't care. I don't care enough. Like, I don't care. I don't want to be better at this. I don't care. I don't want this is not I don't care. So I think like we was working from home and we had like a performance review and he was telling me how I need to do something better or my calls need to be shorter. We need to be faster when we on the phone. I'm like, bro. And we got to make sure that we ask for a survey at the end of the call so that we can get a survey. And I'm like, bro, no, I don't care about this. So I think one day I just was like, bro, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gamble it and let's just see what happens. Um, quit my job and I told myself after that, if I'm ever gonna work again, it has to be in real estate. If I ever work another W-2, it has to be in real estate. I gotta be like vertically integrated. I have to be immersed in, and I was, at the time, it didn't matter what it was, but I just needed to be in the space, around the players, around the right people.
For sure.
Is your son like influence you to like go on and like, bro, I gotta just really just do this? Like, was it your son too?
100%, bro. I would say, becoming a father for me put the battery in my back. Like it truly, it shrunk my excuses. And then not only did it shrink my excuses, but it increased my like the passion that I have for life, my purpose, right? Like my excuses went down and my purpose actually went up. Like I was here for a reason that it's like now I got like if I never knew what my purpose was, I know now. I'm here to, be a leader, be an example for my sons, right? And if my sons were to watch this, 15 years from now, 10 years from now, like I would want them to look back and see, their dad was somebody that designed a life for them, like that actually cared, that took the time and curated a life for himself, right? Like I didn't want to go by like the rules that society gave me. I didn't want to take the traditional school route and get the job, an office job, and get the house. And I took all the risk. I took all the risk early. I told myself, okay, we're gonna delay all the gratification, right? Like we're gonna ball later and just work, put our head down for a whole 20s. I'm willing to sacrifice it. I still like I'm in that same kind of mindset now. It's like we sacrificing everything, bro. Like because I feel like I'm the I'm the one in my generation that was sent here to make the change. Like, like I'm the only one that I was lucky enough to be born in a time where we got all these resources, we got all this technology, we got all this internet, and it's just like all the signs point to me being the person in my lineage to make the change. And if you want something different, you got to do different things. You got to study what the greats do. All right, model your life and behavior after that if you want those same results.
Yeah.
And that's real stand up black man stuff, bro. Because it's like, especially, we both fathers. Being a active present father is so freaking important. So like in your life, growing up in Baltimore, 2-parent household, father there, how did that like how did that help you, bro? Like in business and life?
It helped me a lot, bro. Like, cause I had structure. Like at the end of the day, like having two parents in my city will save your life, right? It can make the difference. It can make or break like the difference of like you being outside when you not when you're supposed to be outside, hanging with the wrong crowd. Like my dad was always in my ear about the type of people that I hung around growing up, right? It's like make sure you know who you dealing with, right? Make sure you know who you going outside with. Make sure you know, you're not hanging with people that'll leave you high and dry, leave you out in the cold. So, um, I think that was, that was extremely important. Having two parents, there to kind of guide me and show me the way.
Yeah.
That was extremely helpful.
No, you and bro, he spit into the batty, being a parent for the battery in your back, bro.
Bro, because it's like, and I'll tell you this, like after every kid, I feel like as a man, you end up making more money. Like that might be controversial, but I think that because I got two sons, and after the first one, it's like, okay, yeah, we in the game, we here. But now that second one came, it's like, all right,
Yeah.
now we got legacy. We got real, we building now. And that's kind of how I look at it. It's like I've been in my like I haven't missed a day. I haven't missed a day of my children's life. Like I've been there every single day, wiping butts and wiping noses, like the whole time, bro. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that because again, like I gotta acknowledge my dad, my mom, I didn't get to spend that same amount of time. Like I spent way more time with my kids than what my parents was able to spend with me. And that's just because of the choices, life that they lived. They had to work, had to go to school, but thankfully like my kids, they stay at home, right? They haven't needed to really like go to daycare or go to school or anything. We've been, keeping them home the whole time and we teach them ourselves. And it's just, I love it this way though, because I really get to be there. We form those bonds early and it's locked in.
No, that's all, bro. That's all. But having a kid really put that fire under your butt, 100%. And then like he said, each one is like, okay, I did that. Like it even more. Like I need to just be that guy. But if you not, it's like what type of example are you setting?
They watching.
They watch.
They're watching. You get older and you look at your parents and you're like, damn, what was y'all doing? I know. I had that same thought, like looking back, like, damn, y'all. And I mean, I'm not saying that like, it wasn't hard. I'm not acknowledging that like it wasn't still hard back then, but it's like I'm still a firm believer. If you want something bad enough, you can get it.
Yeah.
But I just again like I looked at my life as a kid and really locked in on what I didn't want. I don't want to be 55, 60 years old working 40, 50 hours a week. I don't want to have to, work overtime. I don't want to have to, just the uncertainty of knowing like how I'm going to pay my bills in the future. Like, I don't want to have that feeling. I don't want to know. I don't want to live with under $1,000 in my bank account. Like, and that's what I grew up under. I grew up with people that, didn't have $1,000 at any given time. So when life hits you, it really smack you in the face because it's nothing to fall back on, right? My parents, lived check to check most of my upbringing. So, when you see that'll teach you right there. Okay, that's what I don't want. When I worked at Chick-fil-A, like I had coworkers that was 50 years old, and not to say that that's a bad thing, but in my mind, I'm like, bro, I don't want that to be me. Like I don't want that's not me. That's not how my story gonna play out. So, um,
So still on the topic of like fatherhood, because there might be a lot of fathers listening to this podcast. How did being a father influence the way you move, hustle, and like just think about responsibilities as a whole?
being a father, being a father, I mean, having people that depend on you, right? Like it's like knowing that okay, if I don't do it, nobody else will, right? And then I look at my kids and I see myself, like I see two versions of myself, and it's like, bro, I can't fail me, right? Like how I'm gonna fail me? You feel me? So I look at them and um, if anything, just being a father just made life way more serious. It made life like it made me realize, okay, I gotta make my time here count. I gotta actually, get serious and, you know, devise a plan, put in, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes that plan, like first, like we moved our whole family from Baltimore to Texas, right? And that was like, we didn't plan that, like that wasn't something that we, premeditated. That was like on the whim. Opportunity come, are you gonna jump, or you gonna take it, or you gonna sit around and wait, right? And I can never regret that decision. Like, that opportunity, what that right there showed me and taught me was, getting out of your hometown, seeing a different environment, being in a completely new space. I had never visited Texas before I moved here. So um the feeling of just like being every experience being brand new, that was crazy for like a year. Like, everything I did here was like, this my first time riding down this road. I never like, and you never think about stuff like that when you in the same place. You ride down the same street, you in the same traffic every single day. Your hometown, these people, you walk in the stores, people. I got an opportunity to be somewhere where nobody know who I am. I got a clean slate with every interaction. Um, and I don't know, that was liberating. That gave me a lot of time, space to just grow and kind of evolve too.
Another shit. So you moved from Baltimore to Dallas. Why did you make that big move with, like you were saying, having kids, having a family, having a household? Like, what made you do that?
It's like now or never, bro. I really looked at the situation and I'm like, okay, like, we broke a lease and everything. Had a lease in place. Um, it's like, when am I ever gonna be 23 years old again and have the opportunity to live in another place and be around other like-minded individuals? I think that was also one of the biggest thing that I was like looking for at the time, was just kind of getting around more people that wanted the same thing I did. And when I went out of my way to surround myself with those type of people, um, you blossom, you get better. So I think that was what it was. It's like, bro, I'm really willing to do whatever it takes to be around the type of people that's doing what I want to be doing.
Absolutely. So was that like making that transition? Was that super hard, bro? Like,
It was. It was.
how did you like? What were some unseen battles like in real estate, or just doing that, moving your family over a whole freaking state?
Well,
Like,
you don't think it through, like, right then and there. I'll tell you that. Like, at least for me, I didn't think it through. Meaning, like, the full details. I didn't realize how far I was actually going from home. Right? I'm like, damn, this nigga, like, sorry. But no, it was far, bro. Like, we did a long drive, like 20-hour drive here on the U-Haul. Towed the car in the back, did the whole thing, and I just didn't realize that I was gonna be that far. And it's like living on an island when you got your own nuclear family, and it's no extended family to support. You can't drop the kids off on the weekends. You in it, bro. You full time in it. You got to learn how to adapt and how to move and how to stay sane throughout it. Cause it's some times where, like, bro, my life would have been a lot easier if I was back home. I could give myself some time to recharge, but all of it made me stronger. All of it made me better. Like, every bit of it, just kind of turned us more inward. Yeah, like, my family's really close knit.
so it's like it's probably some people trying to make a big decision like that, but it may be quitting a job, it may be moving states, it may be just I gotta make a big decision to go all in on real estate. What are some things like gems you could just tell them to just that you probably told yourself just to make the decision to go all in?
Everybody's journey is gonna look different, but I truly believe that you only lose in life when you quit. The minute you quit is the minute you lose. Like, other than that, I think you always in the game. You always in the fight. Like, you always in the fight. So, and I mean, as long as you are waking up every single day and willing to throw punches, right? If you just laying down, you're not in the fight either. You admitting defeat. So, I just look at it from that standpoint. Is like, if you just know in your mind that you won't quit, then go for it. Whatever it is, go for it. Because it's no way that you can do something repetitively day in day out and not get the result that you like, you want out of it. You're gonna get something. You're gonna get it one day. So just keep going, keep trying.
For sure. So being removed, not removed, but being years into the decision, like I heard you say it made you stronger. How did it make you stronger? Like, how did it make you stronger?
I mean, bro, it's like I don't know. I just think for me, it put me in a situation where it's like I just didn't have an escape route. Like I feel like back home, like when I lived back home, my apartment was probably 15 minutes away from my parents' house. Right. And I'm not saying that like that actually meant anything, but psychologically, my parents are only 15 minutes away. So if anything go wrong, right, like I'm right there. I'm within arm's reach, right? Whereas being here, my parents are like 1,000 miles away. So, the minor inconvenience, right? Like I can have a flat tire. And in the past, like I'll always be able to call my dad, hey dad, I got a flat tire, I can, whatever. Out here it's completely different, right? Now you gotta change the tire. You gotta become a man today. Like or whatever the case may be, but you gotta be willing to kind of deal with your life problems as they come to you and not necessarily rely on any. And then it's also like the familiarity of like getting out of the familiar. I think that was the biggest thing for me is like, again, I always think like, okay, if you want to do something different, if you want a different outcome, you have to change your inputs. Like your inputs have to be different. You can't do the same thing that you see everybody else doing and expect a different outcome. Right. So I just always felt like, okay, I need to do something different. I got to be comfortable being uncomfortable in order for me to bloom, in order for me to, become who I need to be. Like, yeah, it's that confidence. Like the confidence that they gave me was crazy because it's like, I'm will I've been willing many times in my life to go to zero. I've lived points in my life where I was under zero, right? And um all in the pursuit of deal flow, consistency, and all in the pursuit of, building a successful business, right? So I think that that's what the move taught me. That it taught me, like you said, burn your boats. I didn't really have anything really to fall back on. I wasn't it was really sink or swim. It's like we gonna make it out here. We have no choice. We got to.
For sure. For sure. That's like riding the U-Haul, just driving to Dallas. Like, was like, bro, this is a bad idea. Like, like, it was all like optimism.
Bro, it was all optimism because I seen what I seen dark days. Like I seen what, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I seen what I know what I don't want, bro. Like like I know what the alternative is, right? I've seen the alternative. And my thing is, I wasn't prepared for, like an ordinary outcome for my life. And like still not having it. Like so,
Yeah.
whatever if I gotta move again later, like I'm kind of fully embracing risk because, I just understand that we only get one life. This is your one, for all we know, this is our one go.
Yeah.
So we have to take that serious. We got to take some responsibility in our one opportunity at life and try to really do something with it.
Oh, boy. Hey, it's an all-in story, bro. This an all-in story, but kind of going back, growing up in Baltimore, you was working Chick-fil-A, roofing company. I know you cold calling, all of that. And then you moved to Dallas. But before that, how were you even introduced to real estate? Because you say you did like 1-2 deals in, I think you said in high school or after working or something.
Yeah. So my first deal, I did that in 2017. I was like, it was like a week. I closed a week after I turned 19. Um, I really wanted to be 18 when I closed the deal, so I could just flex that. But I was 19, so um, I came across that deal because, well, I found a mentor. I found a local mentor in my market, Ian and Charles Parrish at Investors United on Harford Road in Baltimore City. Um, I They changed my life, man. They put me on. They showed me real estate wholesale. They showed me what it looked like, you know, to find a discounted property and, negotiate, and where to find the leads and how to talk to them and how to make the offer. Um, and they pretty much gave me like all the tools that I needed to go out and do my first deal. Um, and yeah, I found that mentor from a referral. Like one of my family members found out that I had dropped out of school and was like, you should get into real estate. And she was like, okay, well, I know somebody. Hold on, let me make a call real quick. Made a call and called me back and said, hey, I got a meeting for you tomorrow. You gonna go meet with a real estate investor. Let's go talk to him, see how it go. And I did. And from there, like he showed me, I remember the day I got into real estate, my mentor showed me a book, like a binder, like a 3-ring binder. And it was, how like photo album has like those picture inserts, right? So he had a 3-ring binder with like inserts, but inside each insert was a check, like a photocopy of a check. And I can just flip pages. Like I could just flip pages in this book. And it was all checks, like, 6,000, 17,000, 8,000, 20,000, 30,000. Bro. And these are all assignment fees that he collected over his, years of investing. And when I saw that, I'm like, whoa. And then I found out, okay, what does it take? What do you got to do? And once I kind of figured out, what it took to do it, I'm like, okay, it wasn't very hard for me to decide, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, that, so that's what did it.
That makes sense. So, how you say they changed your life? What role obviously changed your life, but how did they change your life? Was it just the introduction, or like was they like super solid?
I think it was more so just the introduction, right? Like, I think, you know, they led me to the lake, and it was my choice to drink, right? But I'm always grateful for the people in my life that, that lead me, right? That point me in the right direction. So I would say that's how they changed my life, man. They just put me on the right direction, especially in a time where I had just dropped out of college. I was kind of like, I knew I didn't want that future, but I also didn't really know how I wanted to exactly get into business. Like before it was real estate, I thought I was gonna be like flipping cars or something, but like, the product changed, but I was always, entrepreneurial in spirit, trying to figure out how I can, keep money rolling. So
Makes sense. So you got introduced after you dropped out of college. What did he tell you to do? Like he showed you all his trophies. He told you like what direction did he give you?
so when I got so my I was told in the beginning that some of the best leads that you can get, and it still is true to this day, are your eviction like your rent court eviction notices. All right. So, my mentors were really old. Like when I got started, the guy, like he was like 75 years old. So, older guy had a, portfolio of properties. And he kind of put me onto a lot of like older methods. In a time where, SMS blast and cold callers are like super prevalent. This was like 2017. So that's what I was seeing on social media. But my mentor was telling me like, nah, you need to go to the courthouse. All right, go down to the courthouse. And I would go there. Like my off days from work was like Thursdays. So every Thursday I would go down to the courthouse. And then one day, walking into the courthouse, held the door open for two ladies. And they were talking to each other while they were walking in, and one of them was like, "Man, I'll be glad when I don't have to come down here no more. We could just sell this place." And I was like, "What?" Like golden opportunity, bro. So I just went over there, introduced myself, talked to him, like, "Hey, my name's Neil. I definitely would be interested in the property if you do decide to sell it." She's like, "Okay, let me take your number down." Took my number, and that was in like July of 2016. Yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, I think it was 16. Um, because it closed in 17. Yeah, so it was 16. And I met her at the poorhouse, and yeah, bro, like I don't know, it was crazy. Like nah, maybe it wasn't 16. Sorry, I'm kind of getting the dates confused. But anyway, um, I just know that she was just like, okay, we got this property. They had a bad tenant in the property. It was a rent court situation. So the tenant wasn't paying. It was they also had inherited the property. So it was like their childhood home that they tried to rent out. And they just had a terrible experience with the first tenant. So they decided, they want to sell. I just stayed in contact, followed up, once here and there. And then maybe like 5, 6 months later, I actually sit down with the sellers, and they were like, "Yeah, we ready to sell now." Um, but they hadn't seen the inside of the property for like a couple years. So I was able to get inside of the property. I went over there. I went over there with a clipboard in my hand, and I just said, "Hey, I just need to come by and see the house real quick. I need y'all to tell me everything that's wrong with it." That's what I said. I went over there with a clipboard. I was like, "Hey, the owner sent me over here to find out everything that's wrong with the house. Can you tell me?" And it's funny how people respond, because like they will happily like tenants will happily tell you like everything that's wrong with the house. So she just walked me through it. She's like, "Yeah, this is leaking, this is leaking, this is leaking," and I came in with like a camera, and I'm just taking pictures of everything she told me. And I went to see a Walgreens, printed out all those photos, and then I went and sat down with the seller. I'm like, "Hey, this is what your property looks like." Um, and they were like, "Wow, this is bad. Like way worse than what they remembered it looking like."
Yeah.
Their original asking price was like $50K for this row home in Baltimore. And I got it under contract for, I think I offered like 10,000, 10,500. We ended up settling at 10,500. And I sold the deal at public auction for 20,000. So we had to pay like some commissions and some fees to the auction company, and it ended up netting like $7,500. And that was like the first real deal, like money that I made. And I was like, wow, like this is real. Like, proof of concept.
How was that feeling like both like was it like you hit the lottery name?
Bro, it was a super surreal moment. Because, I was like a teenager, it felt like, still. And it's like, dang, I just got a check that's like bigger than what my parents just made like this month, right? Like I just made my parents like monthly income,
Yeah.
or maybe double that like in a month real quick. And I if I can go back and talk to myself back then, like I would definitely tell myself to calm down. 'Cause I think I got too excited.
Yeah.
I got too excited. Like I was like, I got that deal and thought like I was too big head. Like in my head, I'm like, bro, this is like it's over. Like I'm just gonna keep doing this. It's over. And funny enough, like after that deal, it took me another 12 months before I closed my next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. So like my first 3 years in real estate wholesaling, I only did 3 deals. I was on like a deal a year pace. And that was like extremely frustrating. So um, when I got to Dallas, I was working as acquisitions, right? On another team. Like I think another big thing for me was just swallowing my pride and realizing, okay, I'm not getting as far as I want to be getting, on my own. So, let's get around people that's doing, better, that have a system that's built in place so that I can learn that. And then, later I can kind of grow from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So like doing a deal a year in real estate, you feel like what made the pivot was just like you going all in for real? Cause I heard that you said earlier that you were in a job and kind of like still doing real estate. So was that the pivot? Like burn the boats. That was a pivot.
I had done like a deal a year, still working the job. It's like my first 3 years, and then yeah, that last year, that COVID year, is when I was like, bro, I want to do this full time. Like it started feeling like it didn't make sense. Like I'm about to give 40 hours of my week to a company, when if I just gave myself that time, I would be like I would be closer to where I really want to be. Right. So, um, I think that was what it was for me. It was like this no longer is making sense for me, because I know I know what I can do. I've done it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You getting a lot of gems. And one thing I want to say is like, when you look at business or your life in like decades, it changes the game, because I heard you say your mentor was 75 and he had a trophy book of accomplishments. So if you're at the time 19, 18, it's like at that point I'm thinking, imagine when I'm 75. Like I could fail for till I'm 50.
That was my mindset. Yeah. That was kind of my mindset, because I saw people that were like really old doing it for a really long time. I'm like, wait, you telling me you didn't get started till you was 35? I'm 18, like I'm 19. Okay, let's go. Like I got time. That's kind of how I felt, but in reality, I didn't have time. Like I wish that I treated it a little bit more. Yeah, I have a little bit more sense of urgency when it came to the work aspect of it. Like I knew the fruits that real estate could bear one day, but um I wasn't as disciplined in, like sowing the right seeds. Like if you want to reap the harvest, you gotta be willing to sow the seeds every day. And I think that's the skill that I probably didn't really understand when I first got in, was like how dedicated you have to be in sowing your seeds every day, making sure that you're getting your name out there, you're making your contacts, making your offers. Like I think that was
That makes sense. And I think with that as well, like that probably was just like wisdom and something that you had to acquire. Because imagine somebody starting at 35, they probably still don't understand like the work it takes to really be successful in real estate. So they probably also had like everybody's journey different. Like they probably also had like a ramp up period. But I think what's really special, or what's really great about getting in business young, is when you think of it from a decade point of view. It's like you start real estate or business at 20. Imagine where you will be at 75, which is so worried about making $15 an hour, $20 an hour, but you're placing your future on an altar of right now. So stop placing your future on the altar of right now, because you're like diminishing your like long term goal. And that's one thing like I always had a mindset on, is like, bro, the most valuable thing we got is time. Like the dude who was 75 would give you all that money for in exchange for your youth. So your youth is your biggest superpower. Like, question: would you rather have $10 million or six? Like, if somebody said, "I give you $10 million and you have 6 months to live," 90, like
people won't take that 10 million. That's
fact.
bad 10 million.
Fact. So you have to, if you're young and you want to get into business, now's the time. It don't matter what you got to do. If you got to go to zero, negative, I've been negative before. If you got to do that, do it, because be negative at 25, 28, 30 versus being negative at 60. Like people retirement right now is super hard because everything is skyrocketing and inflation is going crazy. Like another reason I go so hard is because I seen my people too. Like I seen my grandparents struggle in retirement, like everything getting higher. They did everything they was told to, but still didn't reap the harvest they were told they were going to reap. So right now in 2025, or if you're watching this in 2026, like take advantage of where you're at. Nobody, like our ancestors didn't have the opportunity we have now, and you have youth. Youth is everything. Youth is more valuable than money. Knowledge is more valuable than money. Wisdom is more valuable than money. Stop thinking money is everything. And I think that's where people mess up. Like money is not everything. We put money on such a high pedestal. Like it. Tell me your thoughts on that, Neil. You very handsome.
I think that is true, bro. I think like once you detach yourself from the outcome, because sometimes sometimes the outcome isn't always like, money. Some people, maybe you just want to be the best at whatever it is, right? Maybe you want to be the best singer, like, but if you can allow yourself to detach from the outcome and focus solely just more on the process, like the inputs again, like focusing on the things that you can control, and letting the things that you can't control play out. I think that's just one of those mindset things that like you kind of experience and you gain in real estate or just life and business. I think you just kind of you reach that point where, you focus on the controllables and yeah.
So have there been moments in your real estate career where you thought like, dang, I want to quit?
Yes. A bunch of times, bro. Um, but I just, again, you think about quitting and then you look at your kids, look at your family, and then you snap out of it and you realize like that's not an option. So, but yes, like the moments where, like in December of 2024, I closed, I think I made maybe about 10,000 that month. Um, and a month before that, I might have made like maybe 25, 26,000, something like that. And I ended the year off, and then like the months that follow, I probably went like a good 4 to 5. I went until like April until I closed another deal. So um that was crazy. Like that was tough. Like managing my household and then, you know, knowing that I'm working. Now that's the difference. It's not like I took off for 6 months. Like I was actually waking up every single day and putting in my 10 to 12 hours, right? I had deals under contract that fell through, right? Like it was a point where like almost all my deals was just coming in and just falling out. Lost EMD on deals. Like just like, bro, I had found a deal driving for dollars. The easiest deal you could think of. Found a deal driving for dollars, locked it up. I put a closet, or not a closet, but I think I was supposed to put the EMD in within like 24 hours. But didn't put the EMD in time. And the seller, she was like, didn't put the EMD in. She just moved on, went to another buyer. I had the deal assigned. Buyer already at like, I think I'm thinking like 10K on the deal. Yeah. Easy, but a careless mistake cost me money, or potential opportunity. And, it's moments like that where, the bills are due, the rent due, you behind, I might owe somebody some money or whatever the case may be. And my deal just fell through.
Yeah.
And my kids want to go hang out and, whatever. And it's like, bro, you got to go through those moments and keep your head held high still through all of it. So, yeah.
So how did you like get past that, bro? Like, how did you just persevere and be like, cause think about this, y'all. He's in a whole nother city. This is not, he's by his parents. He ain't got no, like, how did you get through that in a whole nother city, bro? Cause I couldn't imagine, I ain't gonna lie.
I think for me, bro, it just was, it's just, I'm a firm believer that hard work doesn't go unrewarded, bro.
Yeah.
So like, I just knew I was working every day. Like, you can't tell a man that ain't working, that he ain't. You can't tell a working man that he ain't working, bro. Like, I'm working every day. I'm doing what I need to be doing, right? So it kind of came back to that point of like controlling the controllables, like and also taking it one day at a time. That's one thing I can say you learn from the trenches is like, bro, you living day by day. You like, we can't think about next week. We can't think about how we gonna pay that next week. We just gotta make it to tomorrow, bro. And as long as we keep doing that, we gonna keep having a chance. So I think that was more so my mindset in my darkest days. And then it was also just finding beauty in the struggle, bro. Like, I know that, like, J. Cole, he said in the song, like, you know, it's it's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success, right? And I think about that sometimes because like, and that reminds me, okay, when I'm I read a book called The Alchemist as well, and it talks about how everything that you want on the end outcome is, you gain it through the journey. The beauty is in the journey. The the destination is actually the journey, and you know what I'm saying. So I think that was my mindset too, just slowing down in my brokest, lowest moments, and telling myself, this the moment that I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna come back to this, and these are the moments that ultimately form and mold and shape who you are. This is what give me the armor to be able to say, bro, I didn't went to zero, and I don't know what it feel like. So if I ever had to be at zero again, I know it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got that armor from that experience. So
Yeah, like, bro, I'm getting chills because what he's saying is true. Like, the destination doesn't feel as good as you think the destination feels. It's everything's a journey. Because I remember when I was trying to hit like 100K a month in real estate wholesaling, and we once I hit it, it took me like 7 months to hit it. Like me and my business partner 7 months to hit it. But it wasn't as satisfying like I thought it was. Like, it was like a high. Like, it was like, okay, now back to reality. Now it's like the game feel better than the destination. Like, it's the game, like being down and enjoying those moments, enjoying like just your kids, like just being able to be present in the moment. Like, that money shit don't mean nothing. Like, I'm playing the game, I love it, but like, let me just go back to like the roots. Let me build character, and let me build patience. Let me build perseverance in your darkest moment.
in my darkest moments, bro, like I had like my day was extremely structured. It was like wake up, exercise, read, write, work.
Yeah.
Like, so I got a journal where I actually I wrote every single day. I would just write journal, whatever's on my mind, whatever. Like, I use that as like an outlet to just kind of express myself. And it's funny, even now looking back at that, I can look back at low moments and see, what 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 I was doing at the time to keep myself through it, right? And I think I always had sight of, the light at the end of the tunnel. I always knew, like, because again, when you playing a game of like you said, my mentors were 75 years old. I saw a 75-year-old man still be in this business, still wholesale. So when I know I'm playing the longest term game, I know I'm in the game for forever. It's like, bro, we're gonna have our down season, we're gonna have our down quarters, but the game ain't over, bro. The game ain't over.
So, like, looking back at your journal, what are some things that you could think of, like, okay, this got me through, or like this carried me like through those times? If you could think about anything.
I don't know, bro. I think I wrote about this one weekend, this was like maybe earlier this year. Um, I called it like the $4 weekend because I think I had $4 in my bank account the whole weekend. Right. And um, but it was one of the greatest weekends of my life. I wrote about it because we didn't do nothing. Like, I think we just took the kids to the park, um, ate in the house, like ate food from home, maybe, whatever. Didn't spend any money. I remember I didn't spend any money, but the time that I spent, the laughs that was shared, um, those moments felt like magnified in that particular time, because you know I'm also not dwelling on negative situations. Like, if I know, I'm down bad right now, I'm not gonna keep my mindset thinking of like I'm not gonna keep my mindset in the space of like lack of what I'm without. Right, I'm thinking of more so, okay, I may not be rich in dollars and assets right now, but when I look around in my life, I'm extremely rich in love and like, all the things that really matter, all the things that really mean something in life. So, I think that was like I still felt like I was winning regardless, because I'm like, bro, I look at, I still wouldn't compare my story. I still wouldn't trade my life with nobody else's. Even in my lowest moments, it's like, somebody out there still got it worse, you know?
Okay. And that's what you gotta like take an audit on in your life. Like, you might not be having the money you want to make right now, but are you rich in health? Are you rich in family? Let's say you're young, you rich in youth. So take audit of an account of what you have and not what you lack. Because money don't mean that much. Like, it really don't, like, I know we was having a conversation because, you know, we just had lunch about like how money like a whole game and stuff. We don't go all that. Y'all might get a podcast on that, but like they control us with money. So like they call like artificial suffering. Like if you without money, it's artificial suffering. Like it's freaking fake. Like, yeah, that bill gotta get paid. Yeah, like you probably need gas in your car. Yeah, you need some food, but it's like I'm a firm believer God always provide. Like at my lowest, bro, it was always like a ram in a thicket. Like it was always like, cause I've been low too. It was always like, God, you really did that. Like it was always provision set up in my place of lack, in my place of suffering. Like it was always something. It was like someone was always keeping me, bro.
Yeah, it's like every time I thought I was gonna fall, I didn't. But okay, you know, like we so, for real. Like I mean, it'd be months where I'm like, damn, I don't know how I'm gonna pay the rent, but I'm gonna just keep pushing. I can't, bro. I can't allow myself to dwell on that. I gotta, you know, you stick and move, and then it's crazy because you look up and then like situations would be solved, and you're like, wow, like it didn't require the extra thought that like the wasted stress, right? Like I would have wasted a lot of stress trying to solve a situation that, you know, it's gonna solve itself.
Facts, facts. So another thing, like in that point in time, do you think it was a strategy? Like you had to, did you feel like you had to adjust your strategy to get results?
100%.
Okay.
One thing I will say, um, I changed the way I was kind of marketing in that time where I wasn't getting deals. And I really like I was working every day calling leads, but I wasn't getting enough in like new leads daily to expect my like the proper outcomes. So, and that's a lesson that like unfortunately I just had to learn the hard way. And now that I learned that lesson, it's like I'm never gonna put myself in that situation. I'm always gonna set aside money every month to market and be able to continue to fuel my business. I think last year, um, I was operating from a place of fear. I had done something that I haven't done before. I made some money, and at that point, it was like, okay. Um, at that point, it was like, bro, now I have this money. I kind of want to keep it. I kind of want to hoard it. I'm scared. And then what I saw by thinking like that was it just slowly just dwindled away until it was you know nothing left and no more opportunities rolling in either. And then by that point, it's like you know,
Yeah. So it was a transition into, so what marketing stream was you doing and what did you switch to change the results?
so I had last year I kind of was running like sort of like a partnership model where I was just leveraging my skills of acquisitions, kind of closing deals, and I pretty much had people that were like funding the marketing. So I'll have people like, you know, bring me leads and then we, you know, I'll close the deal and then we'll, you know, split up like the profits. Um, so I was doing that for some time and then that model just kind of got, for me, it just wasn't something I wanted to continue doing. I wanted to like do my own like in-house marketing. It, you know, just kind of hard to manage. I was in and out of a couple of different CRMs.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah. But it was a good opportunity because I had a lot of leads and I was able to just focus on what I really wanted to do, which was just close and just rinse and repeat. But because I didn't feel like doing that anymore, I stopped and I paid for it because I didn't substitute it with anything else. Right. So it's like when you turn off one marketing stream, but you don't, you know, keep add something else, it's you know, it's just you just set yourself up in a spot to fail. So I think that's kind of what I did.
Got it. Got it. And then that leads to probate.
Yep. Yep. Led me a bunch of places. It's like a crazy story, but um, yeah. So eventually landed on probate. Funny enough, like my first deal was still a probate deal, but um, I just wanted to focus more on like the niches, like focus on like the proven scenarios that I know there's stress and distress, right? Like, kind of like a back to the basics moment in real estate where it's like, I know that people that inherit properties, oftentimes don't know how to navigate that circumstance. And, you know, I'm really good at helping people in that space. I'm really good at slowing down and kind of understanding and talking to people and, just relating. So, it just felt good. It was also something that was kind of scalable. We use, like bots online to pull probate data like every single day, in multiple counties. So every single day I'm getting constant new probate leads. And we, are like putting ourselves in first position to like market to these opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, every single day leads come in, probates get filed, and in every county in the United States, somebody passes away, somebody's inheriting a property. So I like that aspect of it because it's like it's continual. It's a situation that's kind of always gonna happen, but you just need to be around. You gotta, you know, be on your follow up in order to kind of nurture those opportunities. But
So with probate, like, is there a lot of follow up with that, or are
yeah,
pretty like don't probate you gotta go through like a
mm-hmm.
deal part?
It's like is a full process. If yeah, so when somebody passes away, if there's no will, then the property has to go through the courts, has to go through the probate process. And generally that could take like 6 months from start to finish. So yeah, we're helping people navigate that process. We're helping people kind of, understand, what their options look like. If they want to sell, if they don't, they want to keep it, whatever that may be. And then, people that want to sell, we kind of help them. We make cash offers and, kind of be an easy, smooth solution for whatever it is they're kind of going to.
Gotcha. So you're cast from at the beginning when they first filed, and then you're kind of an authoritative figure. Like, hey, I'm really not trying to, buy your home. Of course, I'm trying to buy it, but I'm just more so here to present you your opportunities and your options. Is that kind of how you present it?
So we definitely make it known on initial contact that we buy when we are interested in buying. Not even that, but it's more so like, hey, we reach out to, um, we were looking through some probate records and, we wanted to see what your plans were with the property. That's normally how that intro starts. And then we kind of let them tell us if they're interested in selling or if they're planning to keep it in the family, whatever that case may be. And then, once we get up those people that are, yeah, we probably will sell it down the road. We kind of, we intake a lot of those like, follow-up opportunities because it's a slow game. Like it really took like the first maybe 3-4 months of doing this. We actually locked up a couple of deals, but we still had to wait the whole probate process. So maybe an extra 4 months. So it was like a backlog. And then, you might talk to somebody and they're like, hey, I just opened my probate case. It's not finished until, September. Call me back in September. And then, you talk to them September, it's ready. So we kind of built like a pretty good streamlined system of opportunities where, okay, now now we're in November. Everybody that opened their probates 3 months ago are finally finished and now they're ready to sell. And it's kind of like a cycle.
So from an acquisition standpoint, when you get the rebuttal, like, hey, my, family member just died, how do you like handle that emotion from a seller, from like the probate situation?
You gotta put yourself in their shoes. I think that's the biggest, like one of the biggest skills that I have is like just kind of putting myself, understanding it, trying to see it from their perspective. Okay, I just maybe lost a loved one. I inherited a property. Now I'm getting calls about it. I may not have even had a chance to start grieving yet. And that could be tough. And it's like, hey, look, I understand. It's probably, believe it or not, I can imagine you're probably annoyed, having this conversation with me. You probably don't even really want to talk to me right now. And that's okay. And I kind of just create space and like just let them know, hey, I know you don't want to talk to me right now, but if anything, the purpose of this call is just to kind of introduce myself. I just want to be, I just want you to know who I am. We can talk, once it makes more sense for us to talk and discuss, we can kind of go from there. But that's normally how I play it when I talk to people that are maybe not necessarily ready to pull the trigger.
No, for sure, for sure. So that's kind of how you get deals right now is probate. Is there any other like strategies you're using right now, or that's kind of like your bread and butter?
I would say that's bread and butter. You know, a little bit of tax delinquent as well, but probates right now are, you know, that's kind of where I'm seeing the most success. I also flipped a mobile home last month, so that was cool.
Tell me about that. A mobile home. You can put mobile home.
Yeah, bro. So I wholesaled well, yeah, I'll say I wholesaled a mobile home. I funny enough, bro, I was on like one of those like PPL platforms, like you know, Lizolo, need to sell my house fast, that kind of thing. And I seen that they had like mobile home leads for cheap, like underpriced. And I'm like, why are these leads so cheap?
Well, what's the heat in?
I'm talking like $20-$30 a lead. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, okay, if you know, if they could sell these leads so cheap, then there has to be somebody that's making money off of it, right? So I just need to figure out, how do you make money off of this in order to capitalize, in order to, off of the, you know, low dollar opportunity. So I just went down a rabbit hole, took maybe like a week, and just kind of looked up everything I could on mobile home investing, in mobile homes in parks, you know, flipping mobile homes. I just went down a complete rabbit hole, and I found out that mobile homes are not considered, if they're in a park and are not attached to own land, that they're not considered real property. It's personal property. So when transferring personal property, like a mobile home, you don't have to use a title company. In a standard like you would in a standard traditional real estate transaction. So for me, this was like things are going off in my brain at this point, because I'm thinking like, all right, I don't need a title company. The opportunities are cheap, and then me not needing a title company also meant I could probably do this deal a lot faster than a regular standard wholesale deal. Because normally, you know, title take a couple days for everything to get set up. You know, you got to get the buyer, seller scheduled. I was able to pretty much facilitate the entire wholesale transaction myself without a title company, and you know, made about 6-7 thousand in like a week from, you know, just a low cost like lead to just, you know, getting out of contract, finding a buyer, and in and out.
So $23 lead. You found the 10 parts of mobile home. You dipping in the lead from contract to cash.
100%. Yep. So the seller, I called the seller, and she's like, you know, I got this mobile home. It's in terrible shape. And she said that, she said, this is exactly what she said. She said, I'd be lucky if I can get anything for it. And we know, like, when sharks smell blood, what happened? Like, so, I mean, I'm like, lucky if you can get anything must be pretty bad. What's going on? And, you know, she kind of goes in detail, let me know the situation. She's like, I'm really sorry it got this bad, da, 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 da. She was also behind on the taxes, because they pay taxes on the lot that they rent. So that was like $1,400 behind on taxes. She's like, I don't know what you can give me for it. I'm like, look, I know I got to pay $1,400 in back taxes. I can get you, you know, $500 in your pocket. So I was all in on that deal for about $2,100. And then I took pictures, went there, took pictures, posted it on Facebook Marketplace. And I found a buyer. He walked it. He bought it at my asking price. I posted it up for like $9,000.
Yeah.
And he was ready to go. He came to my apartment. We, like, right in my leasing office. We sat at the table. I printed out all the documents, and I essentially like did the closing right then and there. He wired the money to me, and it was like the easiest deal that I ever did. And I was like, the whole time I was kind of questioning myself, like pinching myself, like, bro, is this actually happening? Like, this is crazy. So, yeah, I did that last month, just kind of on a whim, trying something, and it worked out.
That's I can't say you know be a gang or your pie. Can't say nothing like that.
Yeah.
$20-$30 lead.
We contract to close. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was 1 week, like in total time. had $7,000, and I was like, bro, this like that was crazy.
You found something.
Yeah.
You really don't hear people even talking.
Nobody talks about that. Everybody throws mobile home leads away. I remember even in the beginning, like talking to mobile home leads, I would just, toss it in the trash. And obviously that's the reason why the opportunities are underpriced. So.
No, definitely. So, like, you a closer, bro. I know that. What do you feel like makes a good acquisition, like, or makes a good closer? Because a lot of people listening to this podcast might be like a deal in, 10 deals in. You being hundreds of deals in, like, what made you like a good closer, like, or makes a person a good closer?
I think you gotta want it. Like you gotta want to be good. Number one. I think that's with anything. If you don't want it, it's gonna show. So I think you gotta want it. But you gotta be willing to kind of make those mistakes and listen to them, right? Like how many call audits and, call recordings have I listened to of myself to, identify things that I probably shouldn't have said. So I think it's that, like, when when LeBron have a bad game, he got to go back and look at the footage and like study and try to figure out how to make those improvements on the next opportunity. So I kind of do the same thing. And then I will also say, studying great people. You gotta be like, a good acquisition is gonna keep always be learning. You never really have it figured out. Like I would never say like I'm, complete. I'm the best. There's nothing else for me to learn. Like I'm always a student. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to just improve. And I'm not really competing. I'm not trying to copy nobody else's style or be like anyone else. It's just more so, hey, I want to just get better than in where I was at a year ago.
For sure.
And just keep doing that.
The best version of yourself always the best version. So, like, in acquisition, tell me about like, cause I mean, I feel like at points in acquisition, you can feel like busy is productive. Have you been there? So like, cause like at the point I am with acquisition, bro, like I get deals, but like I probably don't. I probably make like 5-10 calls a week, but they like productive calls. Versus like back in the day, I used to probably make 50 terrible calls in a day like that and don't really.
Bobby, I think I think one of the skills that we get from just being in the business over a period of time is learning which opportunities to say no to, and which opportunities actually are worth your time. I think that even in the beginning, a lot of beginners, myself included, um, spend a lot of time talking to people that were never going to be a deal anyway, right? They were never going to be opportunity. So I think the faster you can get off the phone with those people leads you closer to the people that you should be on the phone with. So like I can't even stress like how much time I probably wasted in my first year or two in business, like just talking to people that I wasn't going to do a deal with.
Yeah.
And you kind of know, but but
You just still chasing it.
still chasing. You just chase. You try.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think another thing just to add on, I think what makes a one attribute that makes a great acquisition is being able to identify a deal. Like, cause I know this story of like my friend that pretty much he had somebody on his team and he analyzed the deal and said it wasn't a deal and he was just looking at all of his leads going back through them and then it was like a 80K deal just sitting that was like a dead deal. So I think like acquisition, like identifying the deal is like
Yes. Yeah. 100%. In the beginning, my biggest mistakes was like my biggest mistakes came from offering too much, and not knowing how to properly like underwrite and run numbers. I think that was like where I failed at the most. And because I would offer too much sometimes, like that would just shoot me in the foot because, you got to renegotiate. And then now, the seller's upset because, you going back on your word and it just doesn't look good. So I think when I got better at just, and again, it just comes from the repetition. Like when you run so many comps, when you start doing actual deals in a particular area, now you get a better understanding of what home values are, what prices are selling for. And you can use, every success, every failure and kind of leapfrog it into, the next.
definitely. So what's next, bro? I mean, great story thus far. What is like some future plans? Like where do you want to take your real estate career next? Like what's
Bro, I mean, we in it for life, bro. Like honestly, but I mean, the next step for me is just staying consistent, right? Staying consistent, keeping the deal flow coming in. Also like I'm a lot more interested in like building like a note portfolio. Be in the bank, right? So I also want to just help, right? Teach people, right? And be kind of the voice that I know like I wanted to hear, right? When I first kind of got into the business. So it's just a matter of that, staying consistent and continue growing.
Wow. So concluding this great episode of the All In Podcast, bro, is there anything else that you kind of want to just tell the people or any gems you want to leave with the audience?